I'm Kevin O'Hara for alcoholmastery.com. When you've got a fear in life, when fear is stopping you from doing something, the first task should be defining what that fear is, right? Uncovering what exactly it is that you're afraid of. You know, when you're quitting booze, there's many fears. I had loads of these fears, and everyone has them. Everyone's fears are going to be different, some slightly different, some are going to have wide-ranging fears, and you know, no two people are going to have the same type of feeling either, you know, inside them about certain things. So some of those fears might be fear of missing out on parties, or missing out on entertainment, or missing out on fun, or whatever. Fear of failure, you know, getting to a stage where you've put a lot of effort into doing something and you get to a point in it where you just can't continue and you can't overcome the craving, you know. Many of those fears are founded based on previous experience, so maybe you've tried to quit drinking in the past and it hasn't worked out for you. You know, you've gone through many different iterations of this in the past, and each time you failed. And that's one of the biggest roadblocks that you can come across, is that this fear builds up a fear of its own, right? That, you know, it just attenuates that fear, and it makes a mountain out of a molehill, sort of thing, you know. So I always try and tell people to learn as much as they can from the mistake. Don't take it as a failure, and get back up as soon as you can, you know. Don't sort of, if you do have a drink, don't take it as you being something wrong with you and that you can't get through this. You know, to actually think about yourself, think about the journey, think about what you've done wrong, and don't go all out and go, well, yeah, I've had a drink now, so I might as well just go all out and get pissed and carry on going back to the life that I was, give up, you know. That's just, if you do that, then it's never going to work, you know. It's common sense, isn't it, you know. One of the best ways of overcoming fear from the start is to try and figure out what's the worst case scenario, right? What's the worst thing that can happen? So if you look at the worst case scenario of quitting drinking, obviously the worst thing that can happen is that you start drinking again, right? And you go back to the situation that you were in before. As I've said before, this isn't true for most people, right? If you've gone for a week, even a week, right, without drinking alcohol, you're in a better position than you were before you started, because you have a week's worth of alcohol which hasn't gone into your body, right? At the very least, this is what's happened, right? This is what you can take from your week off alcohol. If you've gone a month, you've experienced a full month without alcohol. And that's one of the biggest roadblocks in the beginning, is people don't know what to expect, right? They don't know what it's like not to drink. And once you've gone for a month without having alcohol, you know you've gone through 4 weekends, right? You've gone through 4 full work weeks and gone into the weekends, and you know what it's like not to drink now, right? You have, even if you only do it for a week, right? You've gone through a full work week and you've gone through a weekend, so you've got a little bit of experience behind you. And the more you don't drink alcohol, the more experience you've got. Now, if you take a drink, if that worst case scenario comes around and you take a drink, for whatever reason, don't beat yourself up about it. Stop after that drink, or, you know, if you can't stop and you go for the whole night, stop the next day and question where you were, you know, listen to what's happened before, what forced you to do this, what the process was in your mind, what did you feel in your body, who were you with, you know, what were the events that led you up to taking that drink, right? And think about it that, as I said before, you've got a full month or a full week or whatever it is distance behind you of not putting the poison into your body. So you're never back at square one again. You're at day 30 minus the day that you've gone, right? It's this thing when we get stuck into it and we start counting the days and we're going, you know, I'm 30 days, 4 hours, 5 minutes and 36 seconds off the alcohol, right? Some people do that, especially in the beginning, you know. And, you know, it's a natural thing to do in the beginning. I'm not suggesting that it's not, but it puts you into this mindset that, you know, I'm at day 31 now and, oh shit, I had a mistake last night and I drank 2 beers with my mate, you know, and now I'm back to day 0. You're not back to day 0 at all. You're on day 31, right? You had a mistake, but, you know, we count these days as if, you know, if you make a mistake, then it brings you back to day 1 again. You know, this is not Groundhog Day we're living at. Imagine if you lived your life like this, you know. Imagine if every time you made a mistake you went back to day 1 in real life. You know, you'd never get past fucking day 1. You'd all the time be back to that baby that was just soaking wet and wrinkly and just come out of your mum, you know. It's not the way life works, you know. It's if you're on day 30 and you have a mistake, you have a little mishap, then you're still on day 30, right? You just don't count that day. If you're going to count days, it doesn't make any difference in the long run because you've gone 30 days without alcohol. That is the whole point. Now let me give you an example, right, of another area of life, right? Let's say that you decided that you want to change your diet and you want to change your diet. I'm not talking about going on a diet, right, and something that you're going to go off once you reach a certain weight level, right? Let's say that you decide that from now on you're not going to eat processed foods, right? And you're doing this for lifestyle choice, and this is going to be something that you're going to continue to do forever, right? Now let's say you get into this 30 days and you go, yeah, 30 days since I ate processed foods, and on day 31 you go to a party, right? And at that party there is hardly any food that you would normally eat, right? It's all party food, it's all processed shite, and you're saying to yourself, oh, for fuck's sake, I can't eat any of this stuff, but you don't want to go. So the more you get into the party, the hungrier you get, and eventually you give in, right? And you have a piece of cake or something, or you have something that is not really part of your new lifestyle. Do you say to yourself, right, that's it, I'm back to square one now? No, you wouldn't say that to yourself. You say, right, it's a blip on the map, and I'm still going to carry on with this journey. Even if you were doing it for weight loss, right? Say that you wanted to lose 60 pounds. And same scenario, you're say 30 days into it, and or say you're 30 pounds into it, and you've really been pushing yourself to stay strict to your new guidelines, to your new diet, and you're in the same party and you're getting hungry and the foods are not there that you're supposed to eat, and you take a bite of a pizza, and you take another piece of pizza, and you take a third piece, and you take a fourth piece, and by the time you're finished you're stuffed, but you've eaten all the wrong foods. Do you say to yourself, oh, that's it, back to where I started? No, it's impossible. You can't do that, You might put on a pound in weight, but you're not going to put on the whole 30 pounds because you just did one day. It's the same thinking that you have to get in this instance, right? That one mistake is not going to bring you back to the beginning, right? That one binge of pizza is going to load you back up with all those pounds again, or is going to bring you back to the state of mind that you were in before. That one drink is not going to bring you back to that state of mind that you were in 30 days ago, right? It's just impossible because you've gone through all these experiences up till now. I can't even remember what this video was about. Fear, right? Overcoming fear and seeing what your worst case scenario is. So, have to define what your worst case scenario is, right? Then accept that worst case scenario, right? So you say, well, worst case scenario is if I do have a drink, I'm going to be back to square one, right, in my mind, right? Or not, I'm going to be back to the day before I started, and I'm going to think about it, I'm going to learn about it, and I'm going to move on. And if you can do that, then you immediately reduce the stress that is associated with that fear. If you can, first of all, define the fear, right? Define what the fear is, find out what it is that you're fearful of, what in the future is stopping you from doing this. Then take that fear and go, well, right, so if the fear happens, what is the worst case scenario in this situation? Then accept the worst case scenario and go, right, well, I accept that. The stress is reduced, now I can move on. You either move on to the next fear, address the next fear in exactly the same way, or you move on to step across the starting line, take all your fears out of the way, and you'll find yourself moving along with a lot more freedom, and you'll find that the things that happened, that the things that you feared to be the case, you're now going to have in your mind as being, that's not going to happen, you know. Your brain will automatically start figuring out little ways to sort of sidestep this or sidestep that and work your way around these worst case scenarios so that these worst case scenarios don't actually happen, right? Biggest thing you can do now is, as I said in a previous video, is to step across the starting line and adjust along the way. You know, you can't figure out exactly what's going to happen to you. It's just impossible to know what's going to happen, 10 minutes down the road here. I don't know. I could walk around the road and there could be a load of horses in the way. I could walk down the road and there could be an earthquake, I could walk down the road and it could start thundering. It could do. There's a clear blue sky at the moment, but God knows what's going to happen in 10 minutes' time, World is a crazy place. So you just don't know what's going to happen down the road. You don't know what's going to happen 10 minutes into the future, 5 minutes into the future, 30 seconds into the future. So how can you know what's going to happen? A week, a month, a year down the road. You don't. You can try and predict it as best you can by planning and trying to stick to that plan as much as you possibly can. You can focus your mind on outcomes. You can focus your mind on the present and just trying to move yourself forwards gradually, step by step, which is the only way we can do things. And you can sort of try and develop a freedom of mind which accepts things as they happen, As I say, fears are all in the head. There's no such thing as a fear outside of your body. You're the one and the only one who can define your fears. You're the only one who can figure out what the worst case scenario is. You're the only one who can sort of accept that worst case scenario, and you're the only one who can deal with it. And your mind will go through all these iterations if you let it. This is all about self-direction. It's all about moving yourself forwards in the direction of your choosing, right? Not of anyone else's. And the only way you do this is to learn day by day how to do it, And I can give you tips and tricks that I use on myself. You can listen to many other people, the techniques that they use on themselves, but at the end of the day, these are the things that you have to develop around your own way of doing things, your own mind, your own thinking, your own way of living. So I'll shut it down there. If you have any questions about this at all, come on over to the website or leave them down on YouTube. I'll get around to them. If you've got any comments, this is all, it's a big community here. We are trying to help each other out as much as possible. I think me being making the videos. I think one of the most important parts of this whole process is the comment section. I think people learn a lot more from the comments, from your comments, than they would ever do from me yaggering on and going on and on in these videos. So if you want to support the channel at all, you can go over to Patreon, P-A-T-R-E-O-N. The link is down below. Look for Patreon.com/alcoholmastery.com and you can become a patron of the show. You can help out that way. Come on over to the website and sign up for the newsletter. It's absolutely free, and it's just basically a daily video into your inbox. So until next time, have a great day. Keep the alcohol out of your system. Stay safe. I'm Kevin O'Hara for alcoholmastery.com. Onwards and upwards.